Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF 44. I thought I was going to have to do something, but as I walked out the door, they told me I didn't have to do anything. So, that last video I just made, yeah, that was literally like 37 seconds ago. Just picked up the phone and picked it right back up. Yeah, this is what we're doing here. We're talking about a few playoff topics. Just random stuff that's going on in the first round of playoffs right now uh, that I've been paying attention to. Where would I leave off at? I talked to you about Philadelphia. I think they're getting swept. Oh no, excuse me. I think Washington's getting swept. Philadelphia is going to win the series. I look at the Boston series. I've mentioned slightly in one of my previous videos that Jason Tatum is making it so that Boston is having a respectful series again that would otherwise be a sweep. Without Jaylen Brown, particularly, the Boston Celtics are severely undermanned. Going up against the super team in the league. So the fact that Jason Tatum dropped 50 on their heads tells me, well, first of all, that Jason Tatum is the real deal, and he's going to be giving the Kevin Durant fits going forward. That's what I'm here to tell you all. Forget that series. That series is over already. Going forward, like next year and the year after that, Jason Tatum is the biggest problem that KD's going to run into. Simple as that. In the Eastern Conference, he's going to have to deal with that guy. Everybody else is going to have to deal with everybody. But KD going to have to deal with that guy. And the reason why I say that is because Jason Tatum has now become basically a young KD in my mind. All of what KD did as a youngster is pretty much what I'm seeing out of Jason Tatum right now. And, when we start talking about who's greater, it's just like I said in the last video in regards to Kawhi Leonard and Luka Doncic. I'm not ready to say who's greater because for me, great means accomplishments and talent. But shot for shot, dribble for dribble, I said that Luka Doncic is to me a better player than Kawhi Leonard today. I don't think that about Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum. I'm not gonna take it that far. That's kind of stupid for me to say that. But what I will say is Jason Tatum has long arms, the ability to fly back and forth, all over, in terms of running. He can run like the wind. He scores like 9,000. I mean, you can't stop this guy when he gets going. His form is fantastic. He reminds me of a young KD. He does. I know that's pushing it, because KD is such a fluent scorer, and you find guys that are long, tall, and can score like the wind, but they're not KD. So I don't want to get crazy here and say that KD is. You can find another KD somewhere. You're not going to find another KD anywhere. But what I'm saying is the closest thing you're going to find in this league right now is Jason Tatum, and Jason Tatum is getting a lot better, very, very fast. And dropping 50 as the only star on a team going up against a super team, that ain't nothing minor. So, I have all the respect in the world for KD's game. I don't play games with KD at all like that. But what I will say is when you talk about another lanky, long Eastern Conference small forward that's going to score like crazy and give problems on the other end, yeah, that guy is Jason Tatum for KD. And I expect them to have really serious battles over the next 3 years as KD meets up with Father Time and as Jason Tatum comes into his prime. It's going to be interesting to see the Boston Celtics versus the Nets over the next several years. If those two players stay on those two teams, who knows? Probably, though. So that's one thing I wanted to say. Jason Tatum has arrived. You got to take him very seriously. What else? What else going on in the league? So Portland and Denver have tied their series up, and I haven't paid enough attention to it, but the resurgence of Austin Rivers has been a key thing for the Denver Nuggets. Not surprising. He's instant scoring, and he has a chip on his shoulder that tends to be really, really beneficial for any team that he's on. Most of the teams that have had him, particularly since he left New Orleans, has been very happy to have him. Just about every team out, all the fans love Austin Rivers. Now, players and coaching staffs and things like that, they've had rumors or reputation about Austin Rivers that he's not that great of a teammate or what have you. But fans, when I look at people talk about Austin Rivers, they talk about how they wish they still had him. Clipper fans wish they still had him. Stephen A. Smith is on TV depressed talking about he wishes he was still a Knick. Like, this is a guy, the Houston Rockets fans love him. He's a guy who, where he goes, he often comes off the bench and gives you exactly what you're looking for. Instant scoring, clutch, cold-blooded killer mentality type of stuff. So shout outs to Austin Rivers for continuing to carve a respectable role in this league and continue to prove doubters wrong. That he's some type of just, daddy's boy who's only in the league because his pops is a coach. Nah, this dude can score. This dude has a role in this league. This dude has value in this league. And he should not have been without a job during the season at any point. So that's what I think of Austin Rivers. He's going to score, and that's what you want him for. So that's what I wanted to say, man. Guys got to show some respect. And with that being said, the Denver Nuggets have really, made themselves a very viable threat for the Portland Trailblazers, who have all their horses, but Denver's missing Jamal Murray, and they're still managing to keep this series strong. So you got to give credit where credit's due. I feel like I was right when I said that Jamal Murray wasn't as big of an important player for Denver as he was last year, so they can kind of get away with not having him this year, as to where I didn't feel that way last year, and it's playing itself out. Even though Portland has the closers on the team, they have better closers on their team. Ultimately, Jokic is unmatched, and because Jokic is unmatched, even without a closer, I still trust that the team with the greatest player is going to win the series in this case. And that's why I have Denver winning it probably in like 6 or 7. I think I said, whatever I said, I'll stick with. I think it was like 6. No, I said 7. There you go. So that's what I still think is going to happen. I still think Denver's going to win the series, but Portland won the game tonight and they blew them out. Portland, y'all fans are doing a great job of making sure, and the organization. I'm watching from afar, and I love what I'm seeing in regards to how they are treating Carmelo Anthony. That's a big deal. What it tells me is they are a place where guys can go to feel appreciated. And that is one hell of a precedent to set for your franchise. Particularly when you sit around and you look at some of the franchises in the league who don't have that reputation. Who guys walked away from those teams and don't have the best things to say about them, or have walked away with bad taste in their mouth. You can think of a lot of different scenarios with a lot of different teams where that's been the case. But then I look at the great antithesis to that, and I look at opportunities like Carmelo Anthony has had in Portland. And not only has he rekindled his career in Portland, but the fans and the organization have done a great deal of displaying appreciation for him. They've done it to, they sung happy birthday to him. They got him a plaque, if I'm not mistaken, when he broke a certain scoring record. They've just been very much adamant about allowing the rest of the league to understand how much they appreciate their player. And this is a guy who played his career in New York and Denver and has his roots set in those two places. But I can guarantee you, when he looks back on his career, he's going to remember that appreciation that he got from Portland. This is not a minor era in his career. It's a big deal, especially given where he came from and all the stuff that kind of went on since he left the Rockets and the Thunder, respectively. You didn't think you'd even see him in the league again. And now we're in a space where we're talking about not only is he still playing in the playoffs with a real role, but he's also in a situation where the people around him appear to be treating him the way he deserves to be treated. That's all I ask for as a fan watching these players. That's all I would ever want to see. So shout out to Portland for just welcoming Carmelo with open arms and then doing a great job of making him feel respected. I think I can't say how he feels, but I would feel a whole lot of appreciation for the displays that they've shown. So that's what I got to say about that. Good job, Portland. Let's move on. Let's talk about another series that's going on in the NBA. And of course, I've talked to you enough about the Knicks and Hawks, so I don't want to go there with the Knicks and Hawks anymore. That's one of those series where you probably heard me talk enough about them. So is there another series out there worth talking about? Philly, Milwaukee, and Heat are done. That was a sweep. It's a wrap. The Western Conference, you got the Clippers, did that. The Lakers, you did that. Get Denver, you did that. There's one more matchup, isn't there? There's one more matchup I'm missing, and I don't know what it is, but it's just dead air, so I'm not going to waste your time with that nonsense. Anyway, so the Lakers. There's one more thing I wanted to mention about my team, and it's very, very important. And this is what that thing is. I am watching certain teams around the league shrinking their benches. Those teams are down in their series. I know the old adage or the old verbiage is to shrink your bench when you get closer to the playoff time because you want your most reliable players playing the most minutes. But in a league where most of the players on most teams are either underdeveloped because they haven't played, or guys that just got drafted, or guys who just are out of the rotation because they're a little long in the tooth and there's no longer room for them, what have you. Some of those guys still have a lot left in the tank or something to prove or what have you. Fresh legs are important in a series, in a season like this, where it's been condensed, lots of back-to-backs, guys going in and out of the lineup for COVID stuff. It's very, very important that you take advantage of depth. I look at the Philadelphia and the 76ers, and they are the exception. They have not shrunk. They have not lost games, but they have shrunk their bench a little further than I think they should. And it doesn't matter because they're playing against Washington. They severely outmanned against Washington. They are severely overmanned, overpowering Washington. However, going forward in the other series, and I stand by this, and I will continue to stand by this, you got to play Tyrese Maxey. That kid is too damn talented to be sitting on the back of your bench not getting precious playoff opportunities. He needs to be out there. You got to take this kid seriously. I don't want this to be a situation where Tyrese Maxey 2-3 years down the road is still in the same situation, gets traded to another team, and all of a sudden people are talking about him like Kevin Porter's. Oh my God, we didn't know he could do this. Where did they find this guy? No, I'm telling you now in 2021 that Tyrese Maxey is the real deal. He plays for the 76ers and he doesn't get any minutes. Play the man. Seriously, don't do this to yourself. And there's another situation like that in Portland, believe it or not, with Enes Kanter. I don't know if he's not healthy. I don't know what's going on. Enes Kanter is somebody that they've played a lot and they've leaned on a lot of the time during the season. So if he's hurt, he's hurt. But I look down at the box score. He didn't have any minutes. Enes Kanter didn't have any minutes in the playoffs? Nah, you got to play Enes Kanter. So if he's healthy, I think that they've shrunk their bench too much. Importantly, I'm not a Terry Stotts guy. I've been screaming they need to fire Terry Stotts for about a year now. But I think that that's a big mistake. Nevertheless, you got to play a guy as talented as Enes Kanter. He's a double-double walking. No matter where he goes, no matter what team he's on, he's doing the same stuff. So if he's not hurt and you're not playing him, that's a mistake. If he is hurt, disregard everything I just said. So that's what I think. I just don't think shrinking the bench is the way to go in today's NBA. Back in the 2000s, 90s, 80s, of course, yeah, that all made sense when half of the team couldn't play. When there was no G League that developed the back of the bench players so that they can be comparable enough to go up against some of these real talented players. That is not how it's going today. Now we do have those things. Now we do have players who are ready and willing to take on bigger loads, and it's just not opportunities for them, whether it be because there's not enough teams in the league. And that's a real thing. I know that sounds crazy, but your benches are really, really strong because there's not enough opportunities for some of these guys. And two, just like what I said, injuries and things of that nature, superstars and their contractual situations, it all plays a part in everything. So I would love to see the NBA consider expansion over the next 6-7 years, because I think this is just going to continue to be more and more of a problem. What you're going to end up having is all-stars sitting on the back of these benches. That's what's going to end up happening. Real life, capable all-stars. I think you're seeing some of that right now with the Lakers and Montrezl Harrell. He's a prime example of that. This is a guy who probably will make an all-star team in the Eastern Conference, and he's not even getting a full plethora of minutes because of circumstances and various different things. So I just think that it would be the way to go to not shrink your bench this season if you have certain type of talent on your bench. There's certain players that I just look at and I say, yeah, that guy should be playing, that guy should be playing. It's that kind of stuff going on. So what can you say? I really believe that. So anyway, that's where I'll leave it. My name is BDF44. It's almost time to go home. It's been a good day. No complaining. Anyway, I'm out.